What's up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. Chase Elliott gets his first win of 2026. Hendrick wins, and Chevrolet finds victory lane with their brand new car body. The raced version for this diecast is going to be absolutely a fan favorite. If you haven't pre-ordered it, highly recommend you do so. This thing is going to be awesome. The whole side panel of the car, it's got rubber built up all over the door number. It's going to be amazing. I imagine there might even be some confetti on it. I don't know. Make sure to pre-order yours while you can. They're going to be making a bunch of them, so there should be more than enough to go around. But yeah, UniFirst car, first win in NASCAR Cup Series since the 2020 All-Star race, which, wasn't a points-paying race. So technically the first ever points-paying Cup win for that sponsor. Awesome to see Chase Elliott win. Hendrick Motorsports, I picked William Byron to win today. They won the fall Martinsville race. William Byron qualified second. He was a really good car, but never okay, he could win this race. It was the Denny Hamlin show. It was the Denny Hamlin show. This cat literally led 300 laps. It was a 400-lap race. Everything went his way until the final restart. Chase Elliott got track position with a very contrarian pitch strategy. And that's the thing about, pitch strategy in NASCAR is that you could try a contrarian pitch strategy 10 different times in the sport. And it doesn't work out 9 times. And you look like an idiot. But the one time it does, it usually lands you in victory lane or extremely good finish. We've seen, the Chad Knaus's, the Paul Wolf's of the sport with different drivers throughout the years. Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson, Paul Wolf with, Brad Keselowski. And they would just do some crazy pitch strategies. You catch a random caution, and inevitably it gets you out front. It's risky. If it doesn't work out, you could go multiple laps down, especially at a short track like Martinsville. You get up front. Hamlin doesn't get a great restart. You catch a break with a lot of the lap down cars being Chevy'S. They're, it's good for the brand. So it's just the way it works out, right? And if you're Hamlin, fantastic points day. You finish second. I applaud Hamlin for not trying to dive bomb the corner and take out the number 9 car, because we're in a different era because of the points format. So I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, would I be willing to move the leader to win this race? And I'm like, yeah, you want to win a cup race, but do you really want to put that out there for that driver to pay you back when the championship is actually on the line? I wouldn't want to do it. I would take the second place, and I think Hamlin made the right decision not to ruffle any feathers, so to speak. Take your points. It sucks you don't win, but this is how a championship run is made. This is how the Gordons, the Earnhardts, the Jimmy Johnsons won championships. You take second place when you can get it. And fantastic run for the 9 car. It's kind of interesting. For 6 weeks, that's pretty much been the conversation. Hendrick hasn't won. Chevy hasn't won. What's going wrong with the Chevrolets? And they're going to win eventually. There's 25 full-time Chevy teams. It's impossible for them not to win. It's like in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, 30 different teams run Chevrolets. They're going to win eventually. It's guaranteed. It's just the way it is. But I still think Toyota's the dominant manufacturer. Again, Denny Hamlin did just about everything right today to win this race. If he doesn't, mess up a little bit on that restart, he might get the lead very early on, and then Chase Elliott's the one having to kind of run him down. So it is what it is. But my honest take on the entire Martinsville race, really for about the first 300 laps, in a lot of ways it felt like New Hampshire. It really did. It was flat track. You saw some hard racing. You saw a little bit of tempers flaring here and there, but it was pretty tame. It definitely felt like a 2017 era New Hampshire type event. But the last 100 laps, it started to heat up a little bit more controversial, moments, a couple caution, esque type racing. But it's wild how the majority of the Cup race today is a 400 lap race, not the traditional 500 lap race, and it's very New Hampshire-esque, very flat track, very, I don't know if I would say, it's just less physical racing, basically, in a dumb term. But you look at the O'Reilly Auto Parts race yesterday, I want to say they had 10 different cautions. It was an absolute barn burner. I mean, you had wrecks, you had drivers ticked off at each other. I mean, it was great, right? I'm a huge fan of wreck fests, okay? They could have 10 straight cautions back to back to back to back, and I'm not going to complain. I think it's fun. It's part of Martinsville. It's how it's always been. It's just wild how drastically different the Cup Series event is compared to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series event. And the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, let's just call it what it is. They run Gen 5 cars, right? So I feel like that's why the O'Reilly Auto Parts races at short tracks often feel like the Sprint Cup era races, because they're literally running Sprint Cup era chassis, basically. If you look at the body style for the O'Reilly Auto Parts cars, it looks verbatim like a 2012 Cup car, right? The back end of the car, the front nose of the car, very square body, very unaerodynamic in some areas, right? And they race fantastic. So I think there's something to be said there in terms of the next-gen chassis and short track racing. I've said that for years. I feel like it is the physical chassis. That's why the short track racing is so drastically different, better or worse for the next-gen era. I don't know how you really fix it without changing the car entirely. I mean, I'm curious what y'all thought. I haven't checked out any of the comments, but I will say, though, as a massive fan of NASCAR racing, I could definitely tell the casual fan would probably be a little bit underwhelmed with the action for the majority of today's race. So my point is that I don't really know what you could change on it, but I'll try to change my little light over here if I can get the... There we go. We actually have a color that's pretty close to the Universe car, so that's kind of cool. But the majority of the event, I feel like, was pretty tame, and that's not Martinsville, right? I remember Martinsville, Gen 5, early Gen 6 era, 10 cautions just about every time. Yeah, you had one guy that would dominate the whole race, but you just had cars just crashing, radiators busted, red flags, a lot of that stuff. We don't really get that in the Cup Series anymore, and I think they had more horsepower today, and I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't tell a difference. Maybe that's just me, but I couldn't tell a difference with the more horsepower. It looked verbatim the same to me. So I think it's more or less the next-gen chassis, but I'm curious what y'all think. Make sure to comment down below. Also, if you haven't checked out my recent diecast haul, feel free to do so. It's like a 30-minute video. You can check it out. All kinds of new diecasts on the channel. Check it out. It's a good watch. And I'm trying to think what else here. Oh, yeah. Rockingham is next week. So the Cup Series, they take a week off, and then I think they go to Bristol, which I don't want it to be freezing cold, but I hope it's a cold Bristol race, because that means we're going to get some tire chaos. So hopefully you need some jackets for the spring Bristol race, because that was a lot of fun in 2024. The Truck Series and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is going to go to Rockingham. One of my favorite races of the year. I might do a post-race reaction, probably. I don't know. Super excited for it. Last year was a barn burner. I love it. I think Cup Series definitely needs to go to Rockingham. I'm just saying. Here's the question I would offer to y'all. What would perform better in 2026 with the next-gen car? Rockingham or Martinsville? I'll let y'all decide in the comments. Thank y'all for watching. Huge win for Chase Elliott, and a little bit of a kind of a fun fact, if you will. Earliest time Chase Elliott has ever won in the NASCAR Cup Series season was today. The last time, I think it was like mid to late April, Dover 2022. I think that was like the earliest he's ever won. Talladega 2019. So this is the earliest the 9 cars ever won a points-paying Cup race for Chase Elliott. That's all for now. Have a blessed one, everybody. DB signing off.